to make the depollution of the planet profitable. So we are able to see the trash as gold, make money from recycling it. Our intention is really to make you curious enough that you come and you check what we do.
Hi, and welcome to a new episode of The Light Leaders. Today we have Thomas Carriere. You're back on the show. We've done an episode together already. And we're going to talk about a very special opportunity for light workers, conscious leaders who also want to build their business, make money while doing good. And I'm excited to have you, Thomas, because I've seen you work on that project for almost 2 years now, and it's been doing really well for you and also for a lot of people here in the community that I've seen that have joined this project. I'd like to start with a little bit of background and purpose before we get into it. I'm really happy to have you today. My first question to you is, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for being invited and helping to spread the word, spread the light on what we're doing together. And for me, it's perfectly aligned with this light leader thought form.
Amazing. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. So let's get into it. Like we've known each other for about 5 years, I think now, and we've been really passionate about how do we create that new earth? How do you create a earth that's more in harmony with the planet, with animals, so we're more in harmony with each other as humans, also with consciousness overall. And in the world we live in, there's a lot of talks about new paradigm, and that's great. And at the same time, for me, some of the lessons in the past years were to, yes, create a new paradigm, do things in a new way, and at the same time acknowledge how the world is working currently and not bypass that. And one part of it is money, right? I feel a lot of people, when they're on the consciousness path, they kind of bypass potentially money and the importance it has in the world of today. And I think if we want to create that new earth, part of it is to have new systems and really reinvent new systems, but also it is to already perform well in the world we actually live in right now, today. And that comes with things like mastering the current social media we have, like the Instagram and the YouTube. And that's why I'm passionate about the podcast also. But also leveraging money to create community, to buy land and infrastructures and pay the people that work on those projects. So I know that's something that's been dear to your heart with many projects we've collaborated on. And now it seems that you found something really, really good, and we'll talk about that. But I'd love to know, can you share a little bit about your why and why this project fits into your why?
Yeah, for sure. I love what you just said. And I believe that in order to evolve the whole society and the way we work, we have to go step by step and change from one paradigm to one step towards something else, and then one step towards something else, instead of going too extreme into something that is not yet realistic. And you've been more visionary than me on many of these aspects, and I've been more on the bridging what is currently today and what we can already do, and one day go into a new direction. So this project we will discuss today, for me, is perfectly in line with this, because it's slowly shifting the paradigm on the depollution of the planet.
Thank you. And yeah, it's something that's obviously, there's talks about climate change. Is that an hoax or not? But in this, we're going to talk about something specific, which is recycling plastic, right? And living in Bali, there's no question that we have a plastic problem. Like global warming, you can be like, maybe not, you trust the experts, but in many places in the world, unfortunately, but Bali is definitely one of them. You go to a river, you go to a waterfall, you go for a surf in the ocean, and there is a plastic problem. And that's something that is obviously very important to solve, right?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the global warming and the CO2, because that can be discussed. It's invisible. But the plastic trash is not. And that's also why I love this project. The plastic trash is there. There's no discussion. It's there or it's not there. And to be honest, even though we live in Bali, Now I'm talking to people in every country in the world. Everyone has a problem, even the first world countries. Of course, it's a little bit out of sight, out of mind, but only a very tiny percentage of our plastic waste is recycled today, even in the best performing countries. So where does it go? It goes to nature. It goes to the landfill, which is better than the ocean, but still, it's going to remain there for thousands of years and end up in our food chain. So we do have a big problem to deal with. And the good news is that now is the time on the planet. After focusing on the global warming and the CO2, it seems that the political mediatic complex of the world is now focusing on the next environmental challenge that we need to face, and it's plastic waste. So it's all about timing also in business. We should have done it before, if you want my opinion, because we've been doing this plastic since 1950s at an industrial scale, and we're only now really trying to move the laws and the regulations to make a change. But it's never too late, and it's good that we're doing it now. So this project that I'm here to represent is here to change the game alongside this tendency that the world is having, finding solutions to this plastic waste crisis.
Thank you. And what I like with it is it comes as an entrepreneurial opportunity too. It comes, there's a lot of beautiful projects, and I'm all for philanthropy and humanitarian things. I think it's beautiful, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to implement for people because they have a family or they need to make money. And so there can be sometimes judgment around, actually, if you want to do good, it should only be philanthropic or you shouldn't make money with it. But really practically is we're going to live in a much better world if people can thrive with their business doing good. And I think that's amazing. So yeah, I know you're passionate about not only about like having a beautiful initiative to clean the plastic, which is amazing, and there's people doing amazing work even in Bali. This, I think it's called Sungay Watch, like a lot of volunteers doing a lot of amazing work, and that's awesome. But also, yeah, you're passionate about the opportunity, the entrepreneurial opportunity, and how can people create a whole business and venture while doing amazing things for the planet.
For sure. And before we go into the details, I want to ask you that you've been looking at this project, participating for more than a year. And now you're wanting to come out and actually share the word and promote it. So before we go into that, the paradigm shift that this project is proposing is, for me, very important, is to make the depollution of the planet profitable, to make this ecological initiative also making money for people. Because unfortunately, if people don't make money, they're not going to do it at a greater scale. Of course, in charities and donations, yes, but to change the game at the planetary level, we have to make it a profitable business. So this project is proposing to make the depollution of the plastic waste profitable and offering the community, and that's why I'm here, to partake and redistribute abundance to those who are helping to depollute. It could have not been this way. It could have been only big companies and big investment funds that are making the money with this. But they took another approach, the one of reaching out to the network and the community. So we're really happy to invite everyone to check out how you can make money cleaning this planet and doing it together with a great community. So that's really the one-liner. But I want to ask you, you've been looking at this project, you've been participating. What do you think about it, and what has changed so that today you're ready to come out in the public?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I can be a little skeptical sometimes about projects because I've been in the conscious communities for maybe 6-7 years now, and there's a lot of projects. Can be network marketing, can be in crypto, it can be in community building, where there's a lot of beautiful visions, like a lot of visionaries having those amazing ideas. But my experience has been that a lot of these projects actually fail, or at least change a lot when it comes to implementation. right? And I'm sure a lot of people, if you've been into building communities, have seen a beautiful vision and actually doesn't implement this way. Or same with decentralized blockchain platforms that are meant to revolutionize the world. I've had it a bit even with social media where I was like, okay, I'm done with the censorship on YouTube, on Instagram. I'm going to use like Odyssey and those new platforms. And in the end, you know, I'm still believing in that, but it just takes time. And with that project in particular, yeah, when you told me about it maybe a year and a half ago, I really loved the project in many ways. But I was like, okay, I want to see how they develop because they had all these ambitious plans. And I was like, okay, let's see. And it was very optimistic. And I think there's wisdom in that, taking time to see how things actually developed. And in the past few years, I've become a little bit less of a pioneer, a little bit more of like, okay, let's see how things develop before I put more energy. A year and a half later, I see that it's been really delivering and it's gained trust through that. So it's something where now I feel more comfortable talking about it and sharing about it, feeling like, okay, that's something I feel good sharing about and recommending.
Great. Well, thank you for doing it.
So I would just say like time and seeing the words being followed by actions and promises being delivered on. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's also why I'm here, because I see that there is a track record and that all the promises are kept by the company, and that there is more and more momentum, more and more clients, more and more adoption, contracts with governments, contracts with big petrochemical companies, a thriving community that keeps growing, a lot of people making money, doing good. So, of course, the more the time passes, the easier it is for people to partake. So thank you so much for doing it now.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, let's share more about it.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about that?
Yeah, so the company is called Carriere Emplivo. It's been around for about 4 years. It started out in Thailand with a vision from the founders when they learned that we can turn the plastic trash into oil, into recycled oil. Because plastic comes from oil. And I know there's some people who still don't know. So we do the plastic from the oil, and we are capable with advanced technology to revert the plastic waste back into oil. And the good news is that oil is gold on the planet today. So we are able to see the trash as gold, make money from recycling it, and then redistribute this abundance to the local communities that are working on the ground, but also the online community who are helping to promote and grow the company. And there's many great opportunities on top of doing good for the planet, on top of preparing a cleaner future for our children. And it's not going to stop next year. And if you're considering doing a business, you want to make sure it's going to be there for years. And the good and bad news is that you cannot imagine the amount of plastic waste that is already on the planet. It's more than, if I remember, 15 billion tons that have been just sitting there for all this time. And we keep making 500 million per year of new plastic. So we have work for all of this lifetime. And now is the time for the pioneers, not the dreamers. The dreamers was 4 years ago when it was just getting started. But now it's established, it's working, it's expanding. So now is the time for the pioneers who dare to see that indeed there is a great vision and there's also opportunities for everybody to partake. So that's my little introduction about it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas. So can you share a little bit more, like especially what do they do with the trash and what's the process?
So we developed this advanced recycling technology called Pyrolysis, and it's been around, but we know how to do it in a way that doesn't pollute, which is certified by third parties. But most importantly, to make a very high quality oil, which then we sell today to Shell and Count Energy Trading, major oil brokers and oil companies. And what they do with this oil is not fuel or gasoline. They use it to make virgin plastics again, more sustainable plastics, because this time they come from recycled material. And they are able to make the same quality of plastics, meaning the ones that wrap the food, the one that wrap the medicines and the pharmaceuticals. So it's what we call a circular economy. meaning that all of the waste that ends up at the end of the process of the life cycle, instead of going to nature, it will go back to a factory to become oil and then plastics again that we need today still. And the vision is that no more trash ends up in nature, because now we know what to do with it that is profitable and sustainable. And maybe one day we don't need to take new petrol from the earth. Maybe we can simply sustain our needs with the current trash. But that's for few decades, I believe. But today is the moment where we plant the seeds of the change. And this project has been already delivering a lot, but it's just beginning. It will end up in every country in the world, because trust me, they all need this solution, and I'm talking to them. It will end up on the stock market. It will be a success story of what I think will be like the one of Apple. So joining now is like joining Apple at the beginning. And that's really what I'm here to say, because I know the business model and the company in great depth. And I am convinced that this is going to happen. And I'm very grateful when people like you are seeing the vision and also daring to see that indeed it's very highly probable that it will happen.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. And of course, like there's so much more, so we won't go too much into detail today because we want to keep it relatively short, but we have, like, you have all the details, sharing a little bit more, and I actually encourage people, if you feel excited about it, you can send me a DM on Instagram or Telegram. I'll put the link in the description with the word, let's say the word plastic, and I'll take it from there, and then I can send you more videos on that. But yeah, it's such a beautiful project. We'll talk a bit more about it, but I also wanted to share that, a couple more things actually that made me now share about it is, I know you've been many times to Thailand, look at the facilities, spending time with the CEOs. So obviously, having that proximity with you that I love and trust, and also that you've been there seeing the machines and developing with them is like obviously increasing the trust. And the other thing, which I told you from the beginning, is I remember a year ago when I made a contribution, I told you I want to see also if the token is actually going up, because without getting too much into details there is a tokenization of the plastic recycling certificate, and it's been like going up quite well. So that was also another condition for me to be like, okay, is that actually delivering? Because there's been some project where they talk a lot and then the token is going down. So that's just a couple of extra things that I was like, oh, wow, it's absolutely delivering.
Yeah, it's another result. We're delivering a lot on the industrial side, and that's really the solid foundation of the project, what is happening in the real world with the real plastic, with Shell. And then on the community aspect, we have a token, which is the plastic credit. You will discover that in the discovery journey. Should you be curious enough to ask for the information. And that's our intention. Be curious and just check it out for yourself. And they opened the market a little bit early. Companies were not ready to pay for cleaning the planet back in 2021. So it went down slowly. But now it's different. Now companies are getting a lot of pushback from their consumers that are criticizing them that they are not doing anything for the plastic pollution that they cause. And then there is also the momentum of the trust of the project that is building. So about 10 days ago, we saw the all-time high for this plastic credit. And for a brief moment, it hit the 7 cents, which was fantastic because it creates the precedent. And it also, at that moment, shows that anybody who ever made a contribution to actually clean up the planet made a great profit. And then that's where we're heading. We're surfing an emerging market that is based on regulations. This is not cryptocurrency. It's not based on a lot of people getting interested and pumping the price of an asset. It's based on what's happening in the real world with the real plastic and with the regulations. We have already countries who made it mandatory by law that companies pay to clean up the planet.
So that token is a real world asset, which is a certificate of, I think it's 100 grams of plastic being recycled. So it's very real in that way. And maybe one thing, again, without going too much into details, but that we could explain, is that company not only recycles the plastic into oil and sells that oil, but there's also a component of companies buying certificates of paying for recycling plastic, so they become plastic neutral, which is a little bit like what's been happening with, when you take a flight and you can pay the carbon offset tax. So you pay, so you offset the emissions of your flight and what it created in terms of carbon. So it's the same.
It's
for
exactly
companies.
the same.
They want to be plastic neutral. So, okay, we put a few tons of plastic through our processes. We're going to make sure we offset that by buying those plastic credits.
Yeah, and removing plastic waste from the environment.
Yeah.
Actually, it's exactly what is happening. The concept of offsetting the pollution. So you take a flight, you pay 10 euros more, it's going to plant 2 trees, and they're going to capture as much CO2 as your flight has emitted. You can do it now also with the shipping, logistics, it's everywhere, right? So we expect the same thing to happen with the plastic pollution. And I think it's a very good thing. And today in supermarkets in Europe, you can already find our logo on some products, which tell the consumer that this product is not adding plastic waste to the environment because the company has already cleaned up the environment of that plastic waste. The carbon thing, the carbon offset is very big. It's almost $1 trillion last year of market size. And we are expecting, we're quite convinced, but it's an educated opinion based on what is happening on the market, that the same story is repeating itself with the plastic credit. So coming now into this project means that you're really a pioneer and you're entering the market before it booms. And that's a market that exists based on the regulations, not based on speculation. But we don't want to go too much into the details. That's enough for this first approach. Our intention is really to make you curious enough that you come and you check what we do and how it could be good for you. Maybe it will be for you, and we'll be so happy to welcome you in our community. Maybe it won't be for you, and that's completely fine. But where we are today on the project, we really invite everyone to take a look.
Yeah, no, I love that. And as mentioned, send me a DM at Alexis Lambert on Instagram or Telegram, and then there's a series of explanation that we can share, so you can get deeper into it, understand more the company and what they do at a deeper level, but also the opportunity for you if you have interest in joining this. I also love my podcast on YouTube to be interactive. So if you have questions, you can put them in the comments or comments that you want to put there. I read them all and I answer to all of them also.
Nice.
I think to kind of wrap up there, I'd love to ask you about your experience building this as a business, especially in the context of the community building aspect it has. Because and I know you're really passionate, and we're really passionate about creating wealth also for the community together. And like how has it been to help? I've seen so many people here in Bali now being part of that community and creating wealth together and working together, hosting events together. How's it been for you?
Fantastic. Actually, I was first very interested about how we can do good for the planet. And then I saw how much money we could make. So then I was like, I'm interested about how much abundance we can get. And actually now that it's been growing and we have probably almost 1,000 people in my community, then I became more excited about the community piece. So I trained more than 300 people to promote this project and get abundance while cleaning the planet. And the feeling of all these people coming together, uniting to make a difference, and also getting a lot of abundance redistributed is now my utmost excitement, more than the planet and more than the money. It's the community, because it's a movement that we're building, and every single person that is part of it today is very happy that they are. Nobody regrets having been part of it. It takes a moment to get what is happening with this business model, this company, how it works. Yes, it takes a moment because it's a new concept, a new business model. But once you overcome that first barrier and you get it, there is what I call the click moment, where you click, you got it. And now, very easily, you want to talk about it because there is genius, there is timing, and there is redistribution. And for me, that's really key important pillars for us to to move forward together. So many people are now feeling, okay, this is really happening. I want to be part of it. And the abundance is very big. The community that I've been working with for the past 2.5 years, just to give you an idea, we generated about 1.5 million euros in commissions, in earnings, by cleaning the planet. So it is a new paradigm, a new offering that I will continue to be on top of this for the coming years, because I believe this is the project of abundance.
Yeah, thank you, bro. And yeah, that's why I was excited about doing this podcast today. Is like it combines so many things, right? So you clean the planet and you create financial abundance with it, and you create community and strong bonds of conscious leaders working together. So it's like so good. And as mentioned, I wanted to take a little bit of time to see how it evolves, and that it wasn't like, I don't know, a airy, visionary thing that isn't grounded, or even a scammy thing, all this. And now I'm excited, to share about it. So a little note on this, because for the people who have been watching the Light Leaders podcast, obviously a huge passion of mine is podcasting, and especially helping conscious leaders start, grow, and monetize their podcast. So as a parenthesis, it can also be an additional thing for monetizing something like a podcast or online, because then you have something where you can share with people that connect with you and want to make the world better and clean the planet also with you. So for me, it's been interesting. I'm focusing quite a bit on my podcast coaching, and also send me a DM if you're interested to start your podcast. But on the side, that's something that can be done on the side. It's another project that I'm happy to promote, and a lot of the promotion material, strategies, and all this is handled by people like you and the company that. So that works well as a side project too, and that can be a good monetization strategy for a podcast if you're considering starting a podcast. Yeah,
good idea.
So it's good to blend those, like to see how this can fit into something maybe you're already doing. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to simply conclude by saying that today we are calling everyone. We are calling those who have money to put it somewhere it does good for the planet and it will multiply. We're calling those who don't have money but would like to have more, because we can train you for free to learn to do this. And we can train anybody above 18 years of age, no matter the education, no matter the career. And we already have a great diversity of people doing this in several languages. And we're also calling the ones who have influence, who have a community. Because if you would bring your community into this project, you would have a massive impact in the environment, a massive abundance flowing back into your community, and we can do it with you in a way that doesn't take much time. So we are really calling upon everybody here today. I hope you enjoy that, and please be curious and check out what we do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Thomas. And again, reach out. I'll also put your details in the description. And if you're interested to hear more about the project, send me a DM. And thank you so much for staying this far. I wish you a beautiful day. And thank you so much, Thomas, for
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.